All right, hello everybody. My name is Dudney Silla. I'm the project manager for Early College Design Services, and I will be moderating today's webinar. Once again, we thank you very, very much for taking the time to join us. We're going to briefly overview some of the tech, and so if you do require assistance during the webinar, feel free to call the toll-free number that you see on your screen right now at 866-229-3239. During the webinar, we're going to be using primarily the chat box feature. We're keeping all the phones muted like we said earlier, so when we get to our Q&A session down the road, or if you're running into any issues, feel free to use the chat box session to send an email message directly to us, and we'll be able to assist you from there. And you can find the chat box located on the right side of the screen. In this webinar, we're really excited because we have a couple of great school leaders who will be sharing their experiences and successes around building and sustaining early college high schools. You know, we're going to have, once they get the opportunity to present their pieces, we're going to have a Q&A to end the webinar, so you'll have an opportunity to ask your questions and dialogue a little bit with the guest speakers. Once again, my name is Dudney Silla. You know, I work on the early college design team for Jobs for the Future, and that is part of the high school through college team. In my role, I provide technical assistance to the ECDS clients and support our team's prospecting efforts as we work with districts throughout the country on implementing the early college model. Just to give you a quick overview of early college, what we mean by early college design is that every student is on a pathway to completing a college-ready curriculum, and a critical mass of college credit provides them with momentum toward a post-secondary degree. So with a lot of early colleges, we define the floor as 12 credits, inclusive of gatekeeper courses, which help students to acquire 1 to 2 years of a transferable credit on the way to an associate's degree. And on your screen, you see some of the different essential elements related to early college. One of the things that we want to emphasize as it relates to early colleges, and part of the reason why we're excited to have the speakers that we have on today, is that early college design is really grounded in the core beliefs that you see on your screen. You know, we support all students and believe that every student is capable of college and career readiness and success. Students need acceleration, not remediation, and students will learn more when engaged by rigorous instruction and academic work. As you can see here on your screen, here's some early results that we have related to early colleges. We've seen a lot of success, particularly around enrollment for minority students and low-income learners in early college high schools. You know, this is a model that's built essentially to really help accelerate all students from all backgrounds. And so we're really proud of the success that we've seen thus far throughout the country, especially as it relates to the low-income students and minority students. And now, you know, for the main event, you know, I'm going to hop off so we can get to our great speakers. We have Principal Rashid Davis here from P-Tech in New York, Pathways in Technology Early College High School. And we also have Danya Berry, Assistant Principal for Dayton Early College Academy in Dayton. And the two of them will be our key speakers. So I'm going to do the quick introduction here and then hand it off to Principal Davis and Assistant Principal Berry to share their stories with you. Principal Davis opened P-Tech over 10 years ago in New York City. He has over 10 years of experience in the public schools as a teacher, assistant principal, principal of Bronx Engineering Technology Academy. Under his leadership, Beta rose to number 143 on the Newsweek list of 1,500 top American high schools, also receiving accolades from U.S. News and World Report and Good Morning America. Mr. Davis was selected for his role as principal of P-Tech after a rigorous interview process by consensus of a steering committee made up of the New York Department of Education, CUNY Early College Initiative, NYC College of Technology, and the Corporate Citizenship Office of IBM. With 3 master's degrees and an incredible focus on results for underserved children, we're lucky to have Principal Davis today. And Assistant Principal Berry will also be joining us, and she's going to be following Principal Davis. She holds an associate's degree from Sinclair Community College, bachelor's degree in science with a concentration in rehabilitation services, and a master's degree in education with a concentration of being an intervention specialist. She has served in many roles in DECA, including college counselor, co-registrar, College 101 instructor, leadership team committee, dean of students, student government advisor, etc. She's done a lot of work in the Dayton area, and we're excited to have her as well. And so I'm going to begin now by tossing it to Mr. Davis to share with you his experience. Feel free to take the mic.
Right. Thank you, Dudney, for that wonderful introduction. So I'm going to talk to you through a PowerPoint that I hope will be shared with you all, if not during this piece, or definitely shortly there afterwards. So P-TECH is part of the portfolio of early college schools in New York City. We're the 13th early college school in New York City through the City University of New York, and we are actually a STEM turnaround initiative. We also fall under the umbrella of the Smart Scholars Cohort 2 and CTE, and what's distinct about us is that we are a STEM early college school with an industry partner. And so every single student is matched to an industry partner from IBM, and it's a 6-year commitment with the expectation that the students will simultaneously complete their high school requirements and an associate in applied science in either computer information systems or electromechanical engineering technology. We're actually in year 3 currently with 335 students, with 85% of those students being Black students and more than 88% based on last year's data who are on free or reduced lunch. We're very excited about the unique partnership with the New York City Department of Education, the City University of New York, New York City College of Technology, which is a 4-year institution, but they also do award 2-year degrees. And once again, we are working backwards with IBM, who actually did a skills mapping to show the skills that are currently needed in industry, so that way that post-secondary credential is really informed by industry, so that way there's a matching of skills that are both college and career ready. There's a conceptual framework that I'm showing about the continuation of the early college work, but how this model specifically in its earlier stages are trying to make sure that students are high school ready and connected to prevent dropouts in years 1 through the help of having industry mentoring, and then making sure that they're both college and internship ready in year 2. Students can start taking college courses as early as the spring semester of their freshman year by meeting the college ready benchmark of scoring an 80 or higher on the integrated algebra Regents. So we're very excited about that particular progress, about the possibilities of students to have a dual enrollment opportunity to earn college credits that can satisfy the high school requirements, but also put them on a path to be more competitive through aiming higher for higher levels of math. And so the expectation for every child is that they would have a solid foundation in literacy and math, so that way that they feel successful in progressing through the rigorous work that we're actually putting them through. So unlike a liberal arts associate's degree, an associate in applied science almost makes you jump directly into your major. And so once students meet those benchmarks, they start taking courses that are typically not found in high school courses. And so because these 2 specific degrees will help them get jobs in the IT industry, that's why it becomes even that much more important for them to have the relationships with mentors in industry. You'll see from our schedule we have a very, very long day. First period begins at 8:35 with 10th period ending at 4:06 and enrichment from 4:10 to 6 o'clock. We knew that from year 1 we had to use that time in a way that would allow students to remain more on task, but actually also spent time to really deal with mastery learning in those key areas of English and math. That next slide actually shows you what a typical ninth grade program looks like. It's absence of social studies and science, because we know that by year 4, the expectation is how can we get all students to college level calculus. So we're working backwards with the mindset that calculus, if we aim at calculus as the highest level of math course, that the students will be better prepared to meet the pre-calculus expectation that is a requirement for either associate degree. And if we go to the next slide, we can show you how our first class did on the PSAT. So that way you have some sense of how that more time on task has paid off. So our school's critical reading mean result was 39.6, the state 40.1, and the nation 42.5. So you see that we were less than 3 points away from the national average and less than a point away from actually meeting the state target. What I did was I showed you how the 16 students who have individualized education plans did versus those 85 students who are without disabilities. It's always important so that way we can see how both peer groups are progressing throughout the trajectory of the school. When we look at the math result, we see that the school math mean is 41.6, the state being 40.7, and the nation being 42.8. So we're very happy that we're slightly above the state's math PSAT means result and less than 2 points away from the national average. If you look at the students without disability, you'll see that 42.6 is almost right there at the national average. And if you look at, so we are a year-round model, and so what I have shown you is that at the end of year 2, students are able to earn up to 39 high school credits, with 21 of those credits actually serving as a dual purpose, the 21 being college credits that actually have a dual purpose or dual enrollment option for them. And on the next slide, even more so, you see in terms of a credit accumulation breakdown of the 16 students versus the 85 students without disabilities and how they have earned credit in the past 2 years, those earning less than 10 credits, those earning 10 to 19, 20 to 30, and 30 plus. Just so that we're clear, students are classified as 10th graders by earning 8 or more credits. They're classified as they can be promoted from grade 10 to 11 by earning 20 or more credits, and actually seniors with 30 or more credits. And you can see in terms of, for the next slide, the promotion rate, 98% of the students were promoted from grade 9 to 10, with 94 of those same students promoted from grade 10 to 11. And in New York State, the students have to take Regents in order to meeting graduation credit requirement, and so there are actually 5 Regents that students really should have completed by grade 12. At the end of year 2, we see that 23% of our students have already passed those 5 Regents, with 28% having met 4 of them, and another 23% having passed 3, then 15% having passed 2, and 6% having passed at least 1. So 95% of the students have already passed at least one of the mandatory Regents that are required for graduation. And then so when we look at the next slide, we see the college-ready Regents benchmark. English and math are the college-ready indicators. You need a 75 or higher on the English Regents and an 80 or higher on a math Regents to be considered college-ready. New York State has a graduation rate of 74, with 35% of those students from cohort 2012 meeting that college-ready benchmark. We are already, with 50% of our first legacy class, outperforming that on average, because 50% of our students have already scored both the 75 and 80 as we ended year 2. So 80% of our current 100 students have met at least one college-ready benchmark. We're very excited about that progress we're making thus far. Last fall, there were 3 college courses. This current fall, 2013, there are 12 college courses. So we went to 48% of the students taking a college course to now 81% of the students in at least one college course. When we look at both cohorts, meaning our first and second cohorts, there are 125 students who are in those 12 college courses, and we see that of those 125 students, 58% are taking 3 courses, 23% are taking 2, and 19% are taking 1. The breakdown in terms of, when we look at pre-calculus, Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, we see that 63% are male, 37% are female. Just so that we're clear, 76% of the total enrollment of the school are male and 24% are female. But what's very, very interesting is that 55% of those students who are either in pre-calculus, Calc 1, or Calc 2 did not enter high school accelerated. And so we're very happy that they took advantage of the year-round model that we have to actually advance in mathematics so that way they can be in pre-calculus Calc 1 or Calc 2 as we enter year 3. On this next page, you see in terms of the credit accumulation. So far, 847 credits have been earned, with 615 of those credits with a grade of C or higher, and 714 with a grade of D or higher. What's very important also, black males are our largest subgroup, and I actually give you data on our black male subgroups in terms of their earning college credits as well. So we're very, very happy in terms of that particular progress that we're making with the subgroups in New York City and New York State, black and Hispanic males, who are furthest from the sphere of success when it comes to not only graduating, but also graduating, meeting college or career benchmarks, or college and career benchmarks. And with that said, those are some of the challenges that we still struggle with. How do we make sure that we are giving all students the support that they actually need to be able to move at their own pathway as they deal with these two narrow, specific associate and applied science that require higher levels of math and science in order for them to be successful. But with that, we are very, very happy with the progress that we're making, and we're looking forward to how we sustain this success by making sure that our adults are matched specifically with every child in the building, so that way the students know that someone is watching them, and that they have someone that they can refer to in times of trouble. But some challenges is that, we need children to change their behavior, and to change their behavior a little quicker than normal, because they're not just in high school, but they're actually taking college classes. But this is their first time in high school, so there's many 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds, and so the challenge is how do you actually have them understand the financial opportunities that they're getting by having the opportunity to actually leave this time in their life with a completed post-secondary credential. So having them, as well as their families, understand some of the choices as like working after school or working on weekends, and how that could really negatively impact the progress that they're making in this particular model. And so with that, I think I'm just about out of time, so I'll pause there and wait till we come back for questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Principal Davis. We really appreciate you taking the time to share that with everybody. What we're going to do now is we're going to hand the mic over to Assistant Principal Berry, who will give us a background about DECA, and then after she's had the opportunity to do that, we're going to open everything up for question and answer, and then you'll be able to have the opportunity to toss your questions through the chat box and hear from our speakers. And so give me 1 second here, and okay. Assistant Principal Berry, you're ready to go.
Berry, and I am the Assistant Principal here at State and Early College Academy. I've been in DECA since it opened its doors, approximately almost, we're in our 12th year here. We started with 100 freshman students on the University of Dayton's campus. We have a special relationship with the university because it was the first of its kind in the state of Ohio, an early college or a public school that was pairing up with a private institution. And that relationship has gone really well so far. It was a Bill and Melinda Gates initiative, and we had some champions on both campuses who really wanted to see this happen in the city of Dayton. Our school is, like I said, located on the campus of the University of Dayton. We are sponsored by the Dayton Public Schools. So our students actually are in the Dayton area, and they can choose a Dayton public school as their home school to play sports, and the Dayton Public School District does receive our the Dayton Public Schools receives our testing data. We have grades 7 through 12. We started out operating only 9 through 12, and this year we will have our first senior class who started with us during their 7th grade year. So we'll see a full cycle of our students from 7 through 12 with our graduating senior class. Last year we opened the elementary building, and so now in a few years we will actually have a fully operating K through 12 system at the Dayton Early College. We have about 428 students that we serve, grades 7 through 12, and 92% of those students are students of color. About 75% of them are on free and reduced lunch, and 87% of our students are first-generation college students. As we have gone through, I think one of the questions is how do we get into the early college space? We were, again, championed by the city of Dayton wanting to have a different, have a special program for students in the Dayton area to begin going through the process of getting to college, a more intentional process of getting to college. So we have created gateways, and we have students who take college classes. Generally, our students take college classes at our local community college, so we do have a partnership, a very important partnership as well, with Sinclair Community College. Sinclair is our local community college, and their tuition rate and courses allow our students to take general education courses on campus at Sinclair. So we do not necessarily offer the dual enrollment. We want our students to actually go to Sinclair, experience the classes, have the opportunity to debunk the myths about what college classes really look like, and so that they can have successful experiences before graduating from high school. 100% of our students are required to take college classes before they graduate as a requirement of to graduate from our school. Successful to our launch, we had to have a community support. Our students not only have to complete college classes, they have to complete the Ohio core curriculum, so they have to complete all of the requirements that are set forth for all students who graduate from high school in Ohio. They have to complete the Ohio graduation test and be successful on that test. In addition, our students have to take the ACT. We require that as a part of our series of gateways, which is in addition to their coursework that they have to complete here. Our students have to go through a series of components that help to prepare them for college success and college readiness, not just college eligibility. So students have to complete, they have to be at school, they have to have a certain 95% attendance rate. They have to write and read several books, write several papers throughout that gateway process. They have to complete several internships, 2 complete internships by the time they graduate from high school. Job shadows, they have to have so many job shadows per gateway. They have to complete over 100 hours of community service. In addition to all of those things, they have to complete by the end of their senior year a 20-page autobiography. So these are all in addition to taking their calculus and physics and English 11, English 9, English 10 courses. So all of the students, they have to do all of this work in addition to completing the general high school curriculum. We've experienced a lot of success with our students. We have a small population of 400 and about 400, close to 500 students, and we've had a lot of success, and I believe it's because we do have students who want to be here. Students do not necessarily have to, we go through the traditional system of what a charter school, you have to, it's a first come, first served basis. However, when you have a system where students have to apply, they have to show interest, then there's at least part of the battle is there that they're not required, no one is requiring them to come to DECA, with the exception of their parents at some point. But once we get them to buy in, or as our superintendent would say, drink the DECA Kool-Aid, they see all of the wonderful opportunities that they can get here, and we have a lot of success. The positive thing, I think, for us is we have so many students who are doing such great things. Once they leave here and go to college, they're completing college, and they're coming back as instructors, they're coming back as teachers, and they're coming back just as volunteers and mentors because they've gone through this process. We've continued to have community support. Our students, it's a reciprocal relationship. So if we have students who are continuing to go out and do great things in the community, then they want to continue to serve our student population. If our students are going out and doing positive things, then that's just opening up more doors for students who are coming from DECA to continue to do great things. So we get a lot of opportunities in the city of Dayton because our students have gone out to the various community partners, and they've worked really well with the community partnerships. And those things just continue to grow for our students. Some challenges that we have experienced and that we're continuing to work on. Obviously, because we're in the city of Dayton. At one point, I believe the city of Dayton had 50 charter schools, so we have a lot of options in the city of Dayton. So if this is not working out for a student, they can just say, okay, I'm going to the next school, which is fine. However, we do not have a replenishing process. So once you leave DECA, we only take students in their 7th, 8th, and 9th grade year for the high school, and we only fill in spots. So if we have 10 spots open during the freshman year, we only can take 10 students. It doesn't matter if that student leaves during their sophomore year or if students continue to drop off during their sophomore, junior, and senior year because they're either not getting through the gateway system as they anticipated, or they're not being successful, they're not having the success that they anticipated, or other things, they move out of the district, or there other factors that go into to them moving out of our area. We do not replenish those numbers. So attrition has been an issue that we are continuing to tackle. I think we've shown a lot of growth with our attrition, again, with our 7th grade students who are currently our very first 7th grade class. They're currently seniors now, and we've held on to a significant number of those students, and we're not seeing the numbers of students leaving as we were in the past. And I think that is positive. But we do have to continuously seek out opportunities for, or make sure that we have the support systems in place for those students who are struggling so that we don't lose them because they are not having success here. So that is one of the huge struggles that we've had, but again, I think that we are working diligently towards it. Overall, I've thoroughly enjoyed my years here with DECA. It's so positive to see the students come back after they've graduated from high school here, and then they've gone on to get a college degree, and they've come back to say, I don't know if I would have had this opportunity in this area if I didn't have someone pushing me like the DECA program did, or giving me the opportunities like the DECA program did, and to make me successful. So I've had a really, as we say, a Camelot experience, where it has been a very positive experience for me, and I just think that the early college high schools that we have in our area and in the state of Ohio, I think we're all working for the betterment of our communities, to see our students grow and become stewards to carry on that vision. We want every single student that we touch to go to college, and not only go, but to be successful, to finish, and to return and continue to promote those ideas. Hopefully I answered all the questions.
Thank you very much, Assistant Principal Berry. That was great. What we're going to do now is provide everybody on the call with a minute here to use the chat box on the bottom right of the screen for any questions you have. You know, obviously a lot of information was covered, and we want to just take a minute here to give you the opportunity to write your questions down, type them into the chat box, and what I'll do is I'll read through the questions one by one, and we'll have Assistant Principal Berry and Principal Davis answer your questions. So we'll take a minute here right now. All right, thank you, everyone. We have a couple questions coming in. And just so everyone knows as well, we will have the PowerPoint and information that you've seen today available. We'll include a one-pager regarding DECA as well. We'll send that all to you via email. And you'll also have a link to this webinar, which we're recording. So you will have information to everything. We're going to start off by going to Carol. Had a question for Principal Davis. Do you see more traditional age students or more non-traditional age students? Hold on one second. I'm going to unmute both Principal Berry and Principal Davis so that they can hop in.
So we see the traditional age students of students entering high school at 13 and 14 for grade 9. Not students. We have a small percentage of students who are overage in terms of coming from middle school, but our majority of our students are age appropriate for grade 9 as they enter high school.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. We have another question here from Dwan. When do your students take the ACT, and what is the score you require?
That's for Davis?
Yeah, I believe that's for, or either, yeah.
So our students take the PSAT in grades 10 and 11, and they will take the SAT for the first time in the spring of the 11th grade year. Our students do not take the ACT. We're probably partial to College Board because they are located here in New York, but they take the SAT, the PSAT, SAT exams, and not necessarily the ACT.
And we are, on the other hand, we are probably also partial to ACT because it's located this way. But our students actually will begin doing the Plan Explore And we are part of the Quality Core program with ACT, and so most of our students begin taking the ACT during their junior year, during the fall of their junior year. But we do get them exposed to the ACTs as early as their freshman year. We let them know what the ACT is about during their freshman and sophomore years.
Great, great. Our next questions are coming in. Thank you, everybody. Our next question is from Sarah, who's asking, who teaches the college courses? University professors?
So at P-TECH, yes, the City Tech professors are teaching the college courses. Some of the college courses are taught here at P-TECH, and some are taught at City Tech.
All of our courses are taken off campus on Sinclair or UD's campus, and they are taught by the university personnel.
Great, great, great. We have another great question here from Dewan, who asks, what are your support systems in place now in general for the school, for the students?
So we provide what we call a college support class during their school day. We also try to make sure that we have the college professors who could give office hours, in addition to a team of our own teachers who are willing to help the students throughout the day. And then when enrichment starts, also in enrichment as well.
We have similar things in place. So we have study tables. Our students can access the office hours of their professors as well. We do a College 101 course, and we do a study skills course for all students who take college courses. And again, the study tables before and after school. Since we're located on the campus of the university, we get a lot of support services from the pre-service teacher candidate. So we have a lot of courses where they actually have to do a lot of their tutoring or service hours as a part of their graduation requirements or the class completion process to come over and do some tutoring programs with our students. So we have quite a few supports on deck with being located right here on the university campus.
I would like to add that we do know that we need more support, because once again, the students are not academically screened coming into high school. And so we ask the students, as well as the families, to work with us in realizing that this is not the same high school experience that the peers in other schools are having. And so the monitoring of their time outside of the school day is critical to their being successful in this particular model.
I would totally agree with that, Principal Davis. We have to make sure our parents understand. Our parents actually sign an agreement when they come in that they are going to participate fully in their child's education, because normally when you go through your elementary and junior high programs, you have that parental support, but when they get to high school, you know, they're on their way to being young adults, and so parents kind of step back. But we actually ask our parents to step in even more as to support their children, because we do have to compete with the fact that we do not have sports in-house. We do not have some of the traditional high school experiences that students in our area, and we are competing with that. So, because you do not have a pep rally, but you do have a rally for support for your mock trial team. So it's a little different. We're coming from a different angle, but we are asking parents and families to step in and to continue to support our students, because it's easy to get sidetracked with all of the chatter about, that's what nerds do, or that's what, that you guys must be super smart because you go to DECA. And that's not the case in most instances. Our students are, again, not screened, and they have to come through the same process, but we do not reduce our standards just because, they're not screened.
Yeah, yeah. And to follow up on a similar theme, one of the questions that we have here from Taifara, I hope I pronounced that correctly, she wanted to ask, what is the culture of the campus that helps to immediately get the type of buy-in that you need in order to help these schools run successfully? How do you build that culture of buy-in from everyone?
Well, I think that the culture really is peer-driven. In the eyes of a teenager, every adult is just old. And so they really rely on their peers in terms of for their sense of self-confidence and their being able to point directly to someone who's getting it and moving along. And so I really think that we set up the structure so that way they have no other option but to be successful. And some of their peers who a little more structured and focused, who may run at a faster pace, then become their inspiration to know that they're walking in the same hallways and having the same opportunity as their peers. And so as some of their peers move ahead just a little quicker, they then see that they also can do it because they're walking at the same time in the same space and place as their peers who have the same opportunity.
And we set up in the same thing here. I think we all would use the same book of play for success in early colleges. But we actually set up the ambiance in our building. So when you walk off our elevator, there's a sign that says you're going to college. There are outside of every single teacher's door is a copy of their of their college degree. If they have a master's degree, if they have a PhD, we showcase the colleges that they go to in showing that they have completed their college degree. Every single teacher, every single staff member has a copy of their degree outside of their door. We have pennants. The college pennants are all around the building. Every sign, every piece of advertisement is of our student body doing things that shows that they are preparing themselves for college and beyond. I think that just them walking off and going around our building and seeing that and understanding that we have no other option for you. You don't come to DECA and say, I'm coming to DECA just to graduate from high school. You come to DECA because you really want to go on to college and you want to be prepared for it and you want to be successful. And we have to say that, and we can't just say it to them every single day. We can, but we have to actually have it where it's a part of their environment as well every day.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. We have another great question, a lot of great questions. Thank you, everybody, for sending these in. Another great question. Do you have any advice for schools who would like to replicate PTEC's model, particularly in terms of securing industry partners? Principal Davis?
It's important not only just with the industry partner, but it's also with the post-secondary partner to make sure that there is alignment and conversations about the skills that will better inform and that are needed for that credential. And then how do you make sure that everyone is coming to the table not to do business as usual? This is about making sure we go to the chambers of commerce, we go to the mayors, we go to elected officials, and see how this is needed for whether it's the rural part of America, the suburban part, or the urban part, that we're trying to connect people to industry to make sure that there are opportunities for our citizens to have a pathway to a middle-income lifestyle.
Great, yeah. And following up on that, we have a question from Rachel who asked for both of you, what was the political will needed to make these programs, to have these programs be implemented and sustained? That's a great question.
Well, before we actually began, even though we were the 13th early college, we went out of New York State. So we went to Ohio, where we went to Cleveland, and we went to Cincinnati to look at some other early college schools, but also some STEM schools that were doing some great project-based learning. And so we didn't want the elected officials, we didn't want the school system to think that we were just sitting on our own laurels of thinking what was only successful in New York City. And so we went across New York State and actually outside of the state to say, how do we learn? How do we learn from other early colleges? How do we learn from other places that had STEM project-based learning, so that way we could make sure we were doing all that we could to make sure that our students were being better prepared for industry, so that way we could help not only have higher graduation rates, but students who were better prepared to be productive members of society, so that way they would not fall into that category of being disconnected by the time they are between the age of 18 and 25.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, yeah, we're having a flood of different questions. Some of these are going to touch upon finance, and some of these are structural. For P-TECH, are you partnered with any particular post-secondary institution right now? And if so, have you had any issues with teacher credentialing?
So New York City College of Technology is our college partner. And so those people are hired through the college, and so we don't have any credentialing issue because the college makes sure that the credentials are in place when they hire their professors and adjuncts to teach the courses.
And also, Mr. Davis, you mentioned also IBM as a partner and the role that IBM has played in helping to monitor your curriculum. Does IBM also provide monetary support? This is a question from Bob.
So IBM gives us thought leadership, and they give us a mentor for every child. So last year we had 227 mentors. This year we have 335. And I guess if you would put a dollar amount on that, you would see that that would be astronomical in terms of for that type of human capital that's coming into the reach of many students who are first generation. And so they're not writing a check to buy equipment, but they're actually giving the access to students who may not have that IT professional at home or in their community, so that way they could see the relevance of why calculus is important, why physics is important, and why it's even important to complete that post-secondary credential, so that way they can be first in line like their mentors at IBM.
Yeah. To keep going with the theme particularly, and this is for both of you, is what is the funding structure that you have in place that supports classes on the post-secondary campus, particularly for DECA, and does it impact reimbursements to the high school?
So generally, well, in the state of Ohio, there's this PSEO, the post-secondary enrollment option, but because we are early college, we actually have a line item through the state, through the Early College Fund, so we do not access the PSEO funds. We had our partnership with the university, with Sinclair Community College, allows us to have an allotment of money for our students to go to Sinclair, and we do not have to reimburse at that rate. However, the university, because we have the university tuition is University of Dayton, the tuition is pretty high, and there is not a formula in place for our students to receive a reduced tuition, but we do receive so many other benefits of being on the university's campus that we do not even attempt to do the course reimbursement. So we just use the Sinclair Community College, and we think that partnership is actually the best for our group of students, for our students where they're coming from, and to prepare them for going on to a four-year college or university.
And New York State is committed in terms of to the early college work and has been for quite some time. And so New York City specifically has an agreement with the City University of New York to actually fund the degrees so that students and families don't pay for books or any other of the resources that are needed to complete the degrees. That does not come out of the school's operating budget, so the city and CUNY work together to make sure they work also with the federal government to see in terms of from a financial aid standpoint of how they could actually still benefit and operate to give early college access to high school students.
Yeah. What is the obstacle, if any, to having college courses offered on your own campus with your own teachers? I don't know if either of you want to tackle that question.
Well, there isn't an obstacle at all. If the teacher meets the hiring credentials, then they could be adjuncts at the colleges for which your college partner is for the particular agreement. The obstacle I see is that some people may look at it as if maybe they may not be adding enough rigor because they are so connected to the students, and that's why I like the idea of the college faculty being responsible for teaching the course the same way they would teach it to non-high school age students. And so I like that we don't have to put ourselves to that scrutiny of saying that the students are only passing the courses because the high school teachers are watering down the curriculum.
Yeah, and when we started DECA years ago, the conferences that I went to with all of the college professionals, personnel, the administrators and deans and admissions counselors, they were all very much against what they considered the dual enrollment courses, where you were being taught a course at your high school. It was a college course, but it was being taught by your high school instructors. I think that has changed a little. However, we've just continued on that path because we do feel like our students are being held to the same standards as the students are taking those at the college level. In a lot of instances, our students aren't even recognized as high school students because the unless they disclose to the professor that, hey, I'm a high school student, the professor is not aware in any other way that this is a high school student in their class, because we do not take over a full class. We only put a few students in each of the courses. And then also it just kind of reduces that mystical place called college. You know, we talk about college, we talk about how difficult college is. You know, very few of our students, because they are first generation, do not know anyone who has completed a college degree in their family or in their close family. And so we want to make sure that they don't think that this is not a place for them. We want them to go to the campus, experience, walk around, see what it looks like, and navigate that process as early as possible so that they can debunk those myths that this is not a place for me.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's terrific. In the interest of time here, we have one last question. After this question, feel free to, we'll wrap it up in the next 5 minutes or so. You know, and feel free to email us additional questions, and we'll do our best to do some follow-up if you have more questions after this. But to close us off, we have a question from Josh, who asks, what do you do for students who fall off track? In particular, in New York City, what happens if a student does not earn a satisfactory grade in a college class?
So for the student who doesn't earn a satisfactory grade in the college class, they repeat it. And as long as they're here, the key is, how do they learn at this stage to be resilient? How do they learn to change their habits so that way we actually, when they have finished with this stage of their life, they're better prepared? So whereas we don't advertise in advance that we want the students to mess up, it's important that they have the opportunity to demonstrate those behaviors that need to be fine-tuned so that way they can be better prepared later on in life. And so we do not penalize the child. If the child has failed a course, they do get the opportunity to repeat the course. Both the failed course and then the new course for the second time are included on their transcript, but the student still has the opportunity to begin again if need be by failing one course.
And we require the students reimburse. They sign a contract that says they are going to go to the college, take that college class seriously. We have them do check-ins. We actually go through a program at our local community college where they sign up through an early alert system. So if they are any student who is showing up on that early alert system, it doesn't have to necessarily be a high school student. They show up in the counselor's office as the student is struggling through the course, and we get that information most of the time, and we're able to figure out fairly soon if a student is not doing well in the class, either by their own admitting or by that early alert system. But our students have to reimburse us at the cost of the course that we paid for the course. So, of course, obviously, that's a deterrent for them to not do well in the course.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone.
That. Wow. I mean,
yeah.
ooh. I would have talked a little more of that offline.
Yeah, feel free. This is what we're here for. We have about 3 minutes left, so we have a couple things to wrap up here, and we'll let everyone go. I really wanted to take this moment now to thank, Principal Davis and Assistant Principal Berry, and congrats to you on, being on the board for College App as well. The two of you for taking the time to come and join us. These two schools are phenomenal examples of early college and what, the hard work that it takes and what you can see happen when you have that love and commitment for the kids as well. So we really appreciate the both of you taking the time to come out and join us. A couple things that we want to cover here before everyone takes off is here's a quick overview of results and services provided by Early College Design Services here at Jobs for the Future. We've had the opportunity to work with wonderful schools throughout the country, like P-Tech, like DECA, as we try to bring this model to communities that need it. So we'd love to have you reach out to us. Feel free to check out our website. And if you want to learn more, our website is on the page right here, or you can send us an email as well. Cesar Mickens, our Director of Early College, does a lot of work throughout the country helping to advise and build this system. And so if your school is interested, feel free to reach out to us. So thank you once again to our guest speakers. Thank you to everybody on the call. We hope that you follow up with us at JFF, and if you have additional questions, feel free to send us an email. We'll reach out to you one-on-one. Once again, this webinar is being recorded, so we'll make it available to you, and we'll also include information that we've received from our guest speakers in that message.
Thank you, Dudney, and thank you all for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time. Everybody take care.
Bye.
I'm going to email this to myself. Well, I don't need all this. Where do the questions start? Oh, okay, right here? Yep, yeah. There it is. Okay. Miss Berry. They really can't hear us. Maybe it was through here.